the truck, Michigan deer season's opening up. Me and my buddies up before the sun, Duramax headed up to 131. Driving up to the UP, leaving right out of Ottawa County. There's no place I'd rather be than hunting up at Camp Benny. Got a tag for a doe, tag for a buck, Michigan deer season's opening up.
Good morning, everybody. Hope you're having a safe and fantastic season. Thanks for joining us for this Deer Camp series. If you haven't yet, do me a favor, subscribe right now. Last year in the part 1 video, we had nearly 300,000 views, so appreciate that from everybody. But we've got maybe 9,000 subscribers, which is double what it was the year before. Fantastic. Thank you. Make sure you subscribe. Take care. Enjoy the video.
I think the hunting industry has gotten so commercial. You could go out and be like a NASCAR driver with all the logos out there. I'm glad that there's been like more interest, I guess, in embracing the industry, but my concern is those core things that we knew in the good old days get forgotten or lost or abandoned. And so there's the saying, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater kind of thing. I think that the hunting industry is really towing a fine line on that. And so if we as hunters, again, I have respect for that title, and I think that's something that should be an honor, and there should be a bar for that. The guy that goes and steals trail cameras, tree stands, pop-up blinds, people's information so they can be lazy and go hunt their spots, trespassers, on and on the list goes. Those are not hunters. Those are losers. And then that whole commercial side can kind of have its own place again. There's hunters, and I think that's something that we all need to keep in mind.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well said.
Any topics or anything that?
I have two stories from when I was a kid that came to mind. This is a property that our family owns near a home. I remember two distinct times hunting there as a kid with my dad. One was in a box blind that I believe we called the Hilton because it had a little propane heater in it and it was very secluded from the weather. And I remember my dad shooting a deer one time and it doing a backflip in the air, and I don't believe we actually ever recovered that deer. I think it was a gymnast and got out of that. But that situation is kind of a fond memory from growing up hunting. Another one, the same piece of property we were hunting, and kids can't always sit as long as adults want us to. And I remember us kids, me and my brother, having to leave earlier than anyone wanted. It was before dark, and so we're tromping through the woods, and all of a sudden my dad yells, "Down!" And we all jump down on the ground because we start hearing shooting. Some deer is running through, and I just remember those situations from when I was probably, 10, 11, 12, somewhere around those ages. Just, I guess, memories that stick in my head.
Yeah, that's funny. About 25 years ago, I went with my buddy Joe to Drummond Island, and I shared this story with you guys before. So we just wanted an adventure hunt, and we were young, not long out of high school. So we grabbed our pickup trucks, packed our stuff in, drove up like close to midnight to what is it? Whatever the ferry is that goes from the east end of the UP there into Drummond Island. So the weather was terrible. I mean, this ferry was about shut down. Really rough waters. It's November, like the day before gun season. 2 days before. So we get across, we go to sleep. Get up the next morning and we go scouting. And I think half the island's state land. So we go drive around, we check all these different pieces. Finally we found something that piqued our interest, and we go walking. And our theory, our strategy was we'll try and get as deep in as we can because we know most people are lazy. We figure the farther we are from a road, the more successful we'll be. So I had these big, heavy, like Iceman boots. I think they were 50,000 gram thin. So we go and hit the woods. When we get out there, so far, we found amazing sign. So like, we've got to hunt this. How are we going to find this though the next day? So we kind of the same thing you and I were talking about, Travis. So, okay, there's this tree that's unique, this big evergreen or whatever.
Yep.
Here's a swamp with tamaracks. We'll keep that on our right side, kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So we start walking back. It's getting late, and these boots are starting to wear on me. Now, I was in pretty good shape, but because of how heavy those things were, I was starting to just break down. I mean, I'd have to sit down on the ground for a while, rest my hips, and then I'd get back up and walk. Brutal. Finally make it back to the truck. Whew, okay, we're going to be able to find this. We're going to have to get here extra early, an hour and a half before light just to get to this spot. So we started driving down the road. We go about 200 yards. So I look to the right, and there's one of those trees about 100 yards from us. The road was running, at an angle or whatever. We're walking. Oh my gosh. We felt like such idiots. We had burned up so much time doing all that. If we had Google Maps or any kind of satellite imagery or Onyx or HuntWise or Base Maps or any of those systems, boy, that would have avoided a lot of pain for us. So we had to just roll with it. So opening morning, we get there, we get set up. We got there extra early like we'd planned. And we see all these cars, all these vehicles, all these flashlights. There was an entire orange army that came in and set up around us. We were literally praying that a buck of any size would not come through, because I felt like we were all going to be just Swiss cheese if that happened. Oh, it was not good.
Was that your last time hunting on
That was the
public
last time that I ever went to Drummond Island on public land. I heard rumor it's different now, but
At the end of the day, though, did you wind up with the big buck of your dreams?
I saw several deer, but I never saw a buck, and that's exactly what I was praying for at the time, is that I wouldn't.
Yeah, fair enough. So I guess, fair answer.
I legit felt like my life was in danger.
You're like, this could be a war zone.
Yeah.
Now you know how the deer feel.
Makes me think of the sketchy vibes I felt when I did a couple of deer drives in my youth with a bunch of revved up teenagers.
Oh yeah, sure.
Looking back, that is a horrifying thought.
Yeah.
I'm so glad we never kicked anything up.
Yep. So you've hunted Michigan now. I've never hunted Wisconsin. You've hunted both. Is there anything that you've noticed that seems to be drastically different, or?
Yes. The fact that Michigan has deer in it. That's a pretty good one. So I recall you saying something along the lines of, this has been a slow hunting week.
Yeah.
And
very.
This is the most deer I've ever seen at a deer camp, if that tells you anything. Yeah. So it's a crazy change of perspective.
Sure. Yeah.
Other than that, it's a similar vibe. I feel like Michigan is kind of Wisconsin 2.0 in a way.
Good.
It's
It's
got
just a little better.
just kidding. To each their own. But yeah, it's got that nice Midwest flavor. The woods feel similar.
Yeah.
It's a pretty good time.
Plenty of Packer fans in the UP, so.
Oh yeah.
A little too many.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, I don't know if they're worth rooting for anymore.
We might have to move on to the Lions.
You know,
Oh, so one thing that's kind of sad that that isn't around anymore is the hunter breakfasts. That was something that was
Oh,
always
yeah.
a ton of fun.
yeah, so years ago, Nick and I and my brother would go to these hunters' breakfasts, and we would try to come up with the most bull crap we could possibly conjure. So we'd be sitting there, and basically the idea behind it is the store would, customer appreciation, essentially, make eggs, bacon, sausage, toast, that kind of thing. And so we would gather around this table and start swapping stories, and so we would start telling somebody how one of the best deer attractants we ever found was using aqua velva, that you just shake it up, pour the top off, and pour it all over the stump. And it was about a 50-50. People going, no kidding.
And now that's a running joke in the deer camp.
It was great.
Gotta pour some aqua velva out.
Awesome.
Well, we got one more day of hunting.
Yep. A lot of trail cam activity. A lot of big bucks waiting to be taken down.
Alright, we got plenty of shootable deer around,
Yeah.
but it seems like to be a mix of either this nocturnal thing, which they are a nocturnal animal, but we hope that the rut will kind of upset things a little bit and make things happen. And then, so you got that, or you're at this stand, but they're actually at another stand, making their rounds.
Yeah.
Just kind of a game, cat and mouse.
I've had some serious frustration with those darn nocturnal deer near my stand.
Yeah.
Our stand, I should say.
Right. Yeah. Couple close calls. 2 mornings with coyotes. 1 morning with the doe that came in.
Yep.
And then the buck that passed through. Nick, congrats on the board.
Yep.
Why don't you share with us the story of picking your buck yesterday?
Yeah. So in the morning, first thing after I got out, I had a dumb deer blowing at me as I was still getting settled in my stand. I fast forward probably an hour and a half, and I saw a doe and a little spike come out in front of me, climbing up the hill. Decided to wait. I was hoping something bigger would come. Just kind of biding my time a little bit. And about a half hour later, this 6-point buck comes out in front of me. And he did kind of surprise me a little bit. Since we don't have any snow right now, it's really difficult. You're staring at the brown leaves and the brown ground everywhere, and you trick yourself into, am I seeing actually something? He made it probably a third of the way up the hill before I knew he was there. He was kind of behind some trees and stuff too, but he was moseying his way up, and turned my camera on, got him just for a second on camera, lined him up and shot him, and I was super excited to take him down. He fell like a sack of potatoes, fell kind of out of sight, just beyond the hill, and but fell right there, just done. It was I was super excited, really excited that all came together. I saw him, I dropped him right in his tracks, and he's a beautiful buck, nice looking body, nice basket antlers. I was really happy about that. So, and then so that happened. So that was probably around 9:30 in the morning, something like that. So I dragged it back to camp, gutted it, tossed it in the back of the truck. We do have a security camera at camp that, I was taking a calculated risk that Ben would see those alerts, and the gag would be out, but I did do everything, cleaned all up, and loaded in the back of the truck, grabbed some ice on the way back to camp, tossed it in, and closed everything up, cleaned myself off so that no one would be the wiser. And I sat here for about 30 minutes before I spilled the beans. It was actually a classic Ben move. He's pulled that trick on the guys many times.
He was like, we're like, did you see anything? He was like, no, it was pretty quiet. And then my dad was doing a tour of the camp, and Nick was filming, and he's like, this isn't now a good time to say, we should go look at the back of the truck, or let's go look outside. And my dad goes, wait. And all of us in the camp were like,
No way.
oh, dude, classic. And sure enough, it was in there.
I got fooled. Yup.
It's all on camera.
I deserved that. For many years, I would shoot a deer, and I'd get back to camp, and I'd act like I hadn't seen crap, and we get all out of our hunting clothes, get cleaned up, we're gonna go into town, grab lunch or dinner or whatever, and sometimes we would just go ahead and go out to eat and everything, and we'd be at the restaurant. I remember one time I pulled up on my phone, I think it was a picture of the deer dead or something like that, and it was my buddy Doug, he had said, oh, is that, mentioned one of my kids' names, was that one of their deer? Thinking maybe they got it during the youth hunt or something like that. And then my brother, he's like, no, you shot that today, didn't you? Like, oh yeah. I'd wash my arrow in the stream so it would look like brand new again, because they knew to check my quiver. And sometimes I'd just leave it up, leave the quiver up in the tree stand or something, and so I'd say, yeah, I left it up in the tree stand, which was true, but one of the arrows was bloody, But
We're suspicious now. Every time Nick comes back, we're like, he's like, no, I didn't see anything or get anything.
I do have an advantage. You guys can't hear when I shoot when I'm over there, so I've got a couple legs up.
Cameras, and now we always check the back of the truck, or at least I do. I'm like, are you sure you didn't get anything? So,
To your credit, you're a surprisingly good actor. You're very good at holding like a somber demeanor when we came in.
It was killing me.
share with us about your first big woods buck.
Yeah, me and Doug were bow hunting early October, and 2019, only a few years ago. And we kept seeing the bucks
19,
down 19. Yeah, we kept seeing this buck and a couple other bigger bucks, 300 to 400 yards onto the other property. So I decided to ditch the box blind with Ben and move on down with a tree stand down where near our property line, just to see what I can do. I couldn't. All bow hunting, I would grunt, nothing. So we decided to come up with a plan. I'll go right back there for rifle season. So I did that. Opening day, nothing. Same thing. He was just chasing does, along with another buck. For two and a half more days, he was doing the same thing. On the 18th of November, I was kind of just trying to figure something out, and I look under the trailer and I see the doe decoy.
So like same date as tomorrow.
Yeah, so that's why I'm really excited for tomorrow. I'm going to do the same trick. So that year I was just looking around under the trailer and I was like, there's this doe decoy. I said, anybody going to use this? And everybody's like, oh, why would we use that thing? So I put it out in the power lines by me just to see what I could do. And I remember getting a text from Ben saying, hey, that buck's back out here. I was like, awesome. And then within like 20 minutes later, I just happened to look up and he's like standing 30 yards from me. So and I shot him, I killed him right there. So that's my first UP buck and my biggest yet. So I'm trying that same trick now. Tried it tonight. Had that doe decoy out all night tonight, and then tomorrow I'm gonna retry it and see what I can do, because the 18th is the same day I killed that buck. So
Yeah, happy anniversary tomorrow.
yeah, we'll see how it goes. It's been pretty quiet, but
That was pretty awesome from Ben and I's perspective.
Yeah.
We're up in the box blind, popping the popcorn, just watching the show. We're like, watch Brian kill this buck.
Was
He's
it-
gonna head on that downwind side of that decoy.
Was it like 400, 500 yards down?
Probably.
So this deer was a itty bitty dot pretty much, and we saw it go in the woods, but we did not see it come out of the woods.
yeah.
And we heard the shot and we're like, yep, he got it. And Brian has also,
Wait, I heard 2 shots.
Yeah, still a mystery if both shots hit. I do think I remember seeing both bullet holes in him, but the first one I shot and he just stood there, so I said I'll shoot it again. So I shot him. Shot a second time, and he only ran like 20 yards at that moment. But I guess when in doubt, if he's still standing there, just shoot him again.
and you had to really pursue him, right? Because he was just kept on getting distracted by does, and then he finally put some doe scent on that decoy, and he was like,
Yeah. That's kind of just the perks of not sticking to one spot, kind of seeing signs, seeing what you can do, and moving around. I wish I hit record on the camera before the shot, and then I second guessed myself and went to hit the record button again, and I paused it, so I didn't get that part, but it's still a good memory.
Yeah, just cool that we had a history with that buck.
Yeah.
I always think that's neat when, I think it's neat anytime you get a buck too, but it's neat when you got some history.
Yeah.
It's kind of redemption a lot of times.
Yep.
For me, this season has been full of redemption hunts, and I don't necessarily love those, but they feel good at the time. My antelope buck wasn't necessarily, but the mule deer buck that I shot in Wyoming this year, I missed him 2 days prior. And then 15 minutes after I was supposed to leave, I killed him. it was sweet redemption from that standpoint. Then I went out to Georgia, and I passed up an 8 that had I known that it was an 8, I would have shot it, the day before we had to leave. So we had a big warm up, so I figured the hunting was just gonna tank. But the last night, an hour before the end of shooting light, I shot a really good buck, wall hanger. And so that felt like redemption, from that standpoint. We had to leave at 3 in the morning the next day. I would have much rather have shot them 3 days prior, kind of thing, but sometimes that's the way it goes. But it felt good from that standpoint of you're kind of like in that low, like nothing's gonna happen. Our brains work against us so much sometimes when we're hunting, that like negativity or doubt or pessimistic or whatever. All those kinds of things, and then when it comes together, it's like, right?
Super exciting.
On to my Michigan hunting, the little southern I shot, that was pretty straightforward, but the drop time buck, I destroyed my crossbow is what I was feeling. Dropped my camera 20 feet, the remote wires ripped right out of it, destroyed the arrow, destroyed the 4th arrow, camera arm base. I mean, pretty crappy, and I got to wait till gun season. I pretty much figured my bow season was over when that happened. And then in just under a week, I get all those things fixed, and I kill that buck. I don't think I could have believed anybody if they would have told me that day, when all that happened, that is how that was going to pan out. I'd be like, you're nuts. So it's, just kind of a redemption hunt or whatever. I got history with those deer in many of those cases. It just kind of made it extra special.
Yeah. Does add a lot of cool factor to it.
Yeah. Well, Travis is a new son-in-law in the family. He married my middle daughter. Brian's my son-in-law that married my oldest daughter.
They stole my sisters.
And I really enjoyed the first year when Brian had married my daughter and the time that we got to spend together in camp in the woods. I felt like a special bond was formed. Travis, with you in camp this week and the time that you and I have been able to spend together, right down to I wasn't sure if you were going to die or not tonight. And it really kind of forms a special bond.
Oh yeah.
And I don't know if McKenna will ever be able to forgive us for this.
I think she'll get over it.
Yeah, I think she will too. But anyways, it's not over yet.
Yeah.
But I've really enjoyed the sits that we've had together. This guy can sit like a stone when we're out there, which is perfect. That's how you get things done. And so even though we're 3 feet apart for 5-hour stints, we probably say a total of 20 words would probably be a lot.
Yep.
Probably more like 80.
Yeah, I think today the big conversation was, that coyote was cool.
Yup. Yup.
Yeah, I feel like that coyote was, I'm pretty sure he's invincible. Because you shot at him once and he's very bolty. I didn't get to see what he looked like, but
I love sharing a hunt with somebody because it's something that, other than the Lord himself, you and the other person are the ones that were there and witnessed it. And nobody else was there. They just wouldn't be able to fully appreciate what was seen unless they were there.
Yeah.
Storytelling's important because then the rest could feel like they were kind of there, but it's just kind of cool, see its reddish colored coat and all that, just the details of it. How my phone just conveniently dropped and hit the stand loud enough that it suspected something was up and turned around and tried to run the other way.
Darn.
He was lucky.
Yep. Yeah. Overall, I'd say, just the whole deer camp experience that sits with you, everything. It's something you can't get anywhere else. Wouldn't really trade it for the world.
Yeah. Well, thanks for joining us. We'll probably wrap up now. We're about ready to go to bed and rinse and repeat for tomorrow. Minus the getting lost part.
Yes. We're going to do our best there.
I think there was